Welcome to, do we call it lesson 2? I'm not teaching anyone anything. I'm figuring it out for myself. So it's my lesson, I suppose. We'll call it lessons. Why not? Here we have this here cutting board that used to have a wood piece that it sat in, but that was damaged long ago, from years ago. And we're going to see if we can, with the shaper, make a new wood piece that it lays inside. I recycled the tape from the last smaller project. This one, what the whole thing is. Moved it over here. Changed up the order so the shaper doesn't recognize it. That's the same workspace. We're going to erase the other workspace. I'm going to move this tape over a little bit. I'm going to use as little of the tape up as possible because I'm extra cheap. And I want to not have to keep buying rolls and rolls of this. We got, let me check, that's in the... Alright, yep, that's still in there. So we got the board, plenty of space, and we're going to trace it. Roughly. Very roughly, apparently, because holy crap, there we go. And we have our mouse traced. It should be visible to you. Is it? You can't see it, but I can see it. Now, for like this, that's just everything up the circle size. Going to get my loss. Hitting the right for actually do, and I miss my caliper. There it is. Going to measure. We're going to be circles here. This shape is composed, which code, and that information, the circles on the actual shaper to make the screw circle. Oh, this is big enough to measure this. All right, you're just good to go, and don't know the steps. It's not big enough. Sometimes the tool just isn't big enough to get the job done. Don't, if your lady says that size doesn't matter, she's just reassuring you. She's got someone on the side, I assure you. Alright. And we're looking at about 5-inch diameter. And change, so 5 1/4. So we don't want this to be a tight inlay. We want it to be able to just sit in, pull back out. So we want to go a little over. So we want probably 5.5-inch diameter circle for each ear. This has to be removable so it can go in the dishwasher. Without the wood part. And this here is 8 inches. You're gonna make that 8 1/4, 5.5, 8 1/4. That way there's a little room for it to swim. The cutting board as is usable. The wood part just gives it a aesthetic, but then you want to pull it out, wash it. So we're gonna go ahead, plug this fella in. This bad boy right here. And where are we going? And it's got it pulled up. We're gonna take the camera out. We're gonna see on screen what's happening here. Alright. Tape movement detected. What do you mean tape movement detected? Serial tape is... The camera is jiggling. This is all stable, and yet it seems to think that the... Oh, I see. So we're going to have to go in. Alright, I see what's happening. Let's face away from the tape. It recognizes those dots. That's the problem. So we have to move away and we have to go in. And new scan. And just scan this whole area again, because we recycled tape, and it didn't like that apparently. And we have to capture all of this area, including the... Okay. Alright, including the pencil line. What is it doing? That's crazy. I don't know what it's doing there. And it's confused. Let's see what this workspace looks like. Might have to start over. Okay. And movement detected. Okay. This scan. Workspaces. And space. Jesus. Alright, I was able to get the workspace put together. It can now, as soon as we get over a pencil line, it can see the pencil line. Sort of. I guess I needed a bigger piece of wood to do a pencil line out of. But now we can make these shapes. Okay. 5.5 inches. Okay. And we will just line that right up there with that. And place. And then we will go shapes, circle, 5.5 inches. Okay. And we'll place here. Center rough within the bring it line. And come little pencil than the other one, but though it's fine. We're just gonna. This is more that. That's fine. The center. Using then to pull correctly was 8.25. Diameter 8.25 inches, and then we're just gonna center it here. And it doesn't matter that we can't see everything, all the wood in this. What matters is that
we're roughly center. And that, because we're not actually looking through the camera, this is a virtual version of everything that's in the real world, based on the pictures that were previously taken. Got a bit of a cough coming on. And I think this should be about right. Now, question is, can we, from here, join these shapes? What's the pen do? No, actually, grid, no shape. I don't think we can actually join shapes. Now, select a shape. We can, alright. Now, this whole thing has to be pocketed out, but trouble is, I also want to cut around outside a larger version of this that's centered at the same point, so that we can actually cut out the actual wood piece. If we just make an inlay, okay, we can put this cutting board inside this giant slab of wood, and then what? Need to be able to... There's got to be a back button with design. Can we import? Can we export, though? Okay. So here, I wonder if we can export the shaper have if we import from Shape's place now that we have our shape. Problem is, I couldn't sign in. It doesn't recognize my password, even though my computer does. And I could probably upload it to my hub if I could log in. So we're in a bit of a pickle here. We're probably going to have to do this the hard way and know when to stop. We're probably going to have to make concentric circles on these other circles, except we don't have a grid. We didn't set up a grid. Because how would we line that up with our pencil lines? So now how do we make circles concentric with the other ones? That's the trouble. So we would want one that's 9 1/4, because we want about an inch. Do we want an inch? Maybe not an inch thick, maybe half an inch thick. And the size 9 1/4 is... No, 9 1/4 would be half an inch thicker on either side. But yeah, 9 1/4. How do we and have it line it up? Yes, at that. It's the eyeball. That's a shame. I get the point. Shame that it's come to, but it's a shame. Looks like we're gonna eyeball it. And it's pretty well eyeballed, I'd say. I think that's about as good as it gets. Thereabouts. Maybe a little to the left. And pretty close, pretty close. That's sad, though, that we don't get to take advantage of anchor points. You'd think they would keep anchor points on shapes and allow you to line them up with each other, with or without a grid. That's something they need to work on. Make this thing a little more robust, feature-wise. So I guess we're gonna call it and place. It's gonna have to do. And 6.5, okay. And we're just gonna go here. See that. That should look rough the same. We gotta tape. Make sure we enough of it. And we got the using pencil line, making it harder to see what we're doing. If you and see, and we're just gonna go like this, I guess. Maybe a little bit to the right, a little bit back to the left, a little bit down, a little bit up. No, I think we're good. And place. And shapes, circles, 6.5. Again. And we have stuff. The thing is, I could have done this in Inkscape if I could be bothered to measure the angle of the top of the from here to here. No, I would have just made the shape in advance and popped it in. Line, it would be lined properly, so this would be joined to this B1, and we wouldn't have all crossover now, since so it would just none of this one big mouse overlap in one big mouse where we had of it, and cutting two circles thing, at least don't have to worry about on the inner line far. The outer line where it overlaps line, it's matter where it's pocketed. Perhaps it doesn't matter, it's getting potted out where I want to cut, in where it's getting cut to the meat, or I don't in cut of the actual piece or to the meat actual that I want. Kind of a pain that way. So in it, this about pretty good to me. This is lined up. Looks pretty to me. Build the mic and like crap. I'll have wasted the real, but come out looking here and a bunch of wood. If we good out of the learn, pull some of this, so be it. That's the ideal situation. Hope so. Yeah. But I don't always get what we. Pull this up. Put that in there. Over it. Eventually I'm going to make a adapter that works properly instead of using tape. Just need two diameters, go into open SCAD, fire one off. Easy peasy. I want to start by engraving the inner mouse, just so I can see how this one floats around inside of it. It all float down here.
that soon enough. Alright.
And we're out. Alright. So, I had no way of preventing it from crossing over here and here. And here as well, but then I realized I can hold down the green button for auto when I line up the edge of the area in which the cutting head can actually operate with this circle here, the edge of this circle here, hold down auto and it'll just go right to the end, and look at that. So when I make the outer cut, that's what I'm going to do, and that's how it's going to make the whole mouse board without cutting into itself. Alright, so we've got the initial engraving cut, and the mouse head fits within it pretty well. It does not cross over. It's got a little room to swim, so it can just sit down and pop out easily, while still being secure enough that it won't jiggle too much while being used. Although generally one cuts straight down, so it wouldn't be jiggled anyway. It's got room to breathe. It's got room for you to stick your fingernail in and pull it up to wash it. It's got more room around the body than the ears, which is, I think, is a good thing. Because this is, I can't stress this enough, not meant to be a permanent inlay. I mean, it's shy of perfect, but it's good. I'm satisfied for what it is, for what it would take. It also occurred to me that I don't need the outer circles I drew. I can just use an offset around the inner circles, and that way I know that they're concentric with the originals. The cuts, that is. So, we're just going to change the bit, pocket this out. Let's see what we got. Actually, no. I think we should cut first, then pocket. Shouldn't we? I don't know. No. We're going to pocket first. Yes, we're going to pocket first. Absolutely. Alright. Gotta look at my hand. Any palm readers out there can tell me when I'm gonna die or something. I don't know. Is that how that works? Alright. First things first. Get you back over here to be worked with. Unplug. Spindle, then unscrew the spindle. Lefty loosey, maybe? It's definitely lefty tighty righty loosey, right? Pocket this some bitch out. So we're changing to the quarter bit, touch off, plunge, and you're golden. Now, thickness of this is 25/64 of an inch, so again we're going to round up to a ½ inch so it sits down a little bit just above it. So I'm going ½ inch, and we're going to get it off the dots so that the machine can actually see what it's doing. I'm going to switch this sumbitch to a pocket cut. Okay. Do you want to do the full ½ inch? ½ inch yet? I think we'll start with a ½ inch. And again, it's doing the same thing as last time where it's filling in white short of the line.
So I guess by default, that's the smart and safe thing to do once you actually know why it's doing it.
Alright, so we've pocketed out most of the big circle. I left a few little bits sticking up so that there's something for the shaper to actually sit on. But we can get a rough idea now of how this will fit. If we move the shaper off to the side here. Oh, hold on. Gotta move the shaper out of the way. Let's get tools out. And we'll just put the shaper down here. Alright. Jostled it a bit, so we'll want to do another Z-touch. And as you can see, mouse so far is fitting. So we're going to pocket out those ears. And we're going to pocket out the ears all the way. So we're going to do both passes. And then we're going to finish up the center. Okay, so I've got the whole thing pocketed out. Now, what I did was I had this really good idea at first that I followed through on, and it was rewarding. I had left these peg-like structures around this area so that when I pocketed out this area, the machine wouldn't dip in, because as you can see, the hole is about as big as the machine is and it wants to tilt in. But I did 3 passes. I did a .25, a .45, and then a .5 to finish. And you'll see I got a really clean cut here and here, but then it's a mess over here because on the .45 I did the whole middle section instead of just doing the bottom section, then doing the .5, then doing the .45 here, and then the .5 here. So I wound up with all these chunks here because it kept dipping in and pulling out, and it's kind of a mess. But I can clean it up. It just needs a little bit of a sanding. A lot of bit of a sanding. But once that's sorted out, it should be nice and smooth. But it wouldn't need nearly as much sanding if I had left the pegs up here for the .5. And did the .5 down here, then went up here and did everything I had to do. Alright, I've hit it with the orbital sander, and you can see that while I got rid of all the peaks, there's still valleys that I couldn't do anything about. But only in this section, and only because the machine dipped in. Here, so smooth. Look at that. And here, it's so smooth. This thing is coming out very nicely. Alright, now that the cutting board is no longer in any danger of getting cut, because it is now, we're now done with the pocketing, and the machine knows not to go where it's restricted from going, I'm going to start making the outer cuts, and I need the cutting board in place to hold the machine up. So we're going to ignore these circles here, actually. Is there a way to just delete this circle? Or to hell with it, we're just going to go to this circle. We're going to switch from pocket to outside cut. We're going to remove the offset. We're going to actually create a higher offset. We want, well, we want an inch. So, 1 inch. Oh no, wait, that would actually be twice what we want. We want ½ an inch, right? Yeah, that's right. .5 inches. That's odd. Oh no, there it is. Okay, yeah, because we have this circle over here that would be... Actually, we can see how close of a match we had, and it wasn't perfect. It'll probably break away up here about. But that doesn't matter. What matters is we got the circle we need right here to cut. So we're going to ignore the outer circle and do this one that is 0.5 inches offset from the inner circle. It's about there, it looks like. So if we're right on the line, then it looks like we're going to cut right there, and you can make out how far it is from. That's pretty good. So we're just going to... Alright, so now the actual board itself is cut out. Around the cutting board, as you can see, there was a little bit of an accident here and one here, although I removed the actual plastic piece before I did there, just in case. What had happened was, on the quarter-inch pass, the quarter-inch deep pass, since I had to manually jump tracks between 3 circles because there's no functionality to just do a union across multiple shapes to erase their overlapping bits, I didn't know when to stop on the screen. I was looking at the screen, it wasn't showing me the other circle yet, until I went too far, way too far, and I realized, oh shit, I'm going too far. And then once I changed both of these 2 circles from pocket to outside line, then I was able to do a little bit of drawing, a little bit of cutting here in each corner, and then once I had one pass done, the next 2 passes, the half-inch and 3/4-inch passes, were pretty easy to do without making the same mistake again. Because at that point there were blue lines on the screen where I had previously cut on the other tracks, so I could see when it was time to jump from one circle to the other. And I just have to pry this thing up. Unfortunately, it's got damage in 2 places after basically an entire day of work on it. Hours and hours. And I damaged the piece that goes in the middle of it after hours and hours of work, so I'm sure you can imagine I'm not feeling too great about all that. But overall, for the most part, 2 nicks aside, that were done after all that pocketing, and that was hours of pocketing. Hours. Hours of pocketing. Can't stress that enough. All that, and I got 2 nicks in this thing. So I'm going to have to fill that in somehow. I gotta get this piece up, though, first, without denting it. Oh boy, it is really stuck on it. This is good tape. It's permanent, isn't it? I'm not sure how to really get under there and remove that without hurting it. Alright, I'm going to need something flat and wide and angry. Flat and wide and angry. What have we got that fits that description? Oh! This product. We'll just slip in under here. Break the corner off of this wood, because I don't need it. don't want to dent that too much. We're going to have it like that. Here we go, we got a break here. And rip the piece off. Don't need that. And gotta do this without breaking the whole thing, like we did that. Imagine if we broke this whole thing after all that work. So I don't want to flex it too much because it's thin here. It's relatively thin. We do want to get it up. Alright, got one ear up. This thing's gonna need a sanding anyway, so. Oh my goodness. That double stick tape is rough stuff. But it's really light, this piece. It's very, once this stuff's been hollowed out, it really, it gets really light really quick. Get some sticky, gluey sawdust from around where the tape got cut from around after. And we got it. It ain't perfect. It needs a little help. It needs to be filled in 2 places. It needs more sanding. I sanded the inside, but it does what it's supposed to, more or less. And we only fucked up a little bit. And here's the finished product. Used this Watco butcher block finish on it. It's nice and smooth now, glossy, fixed up where it was cut here and here. This one blended a lot better, sort of. And this one still looks a little funny, but it's filled in at least. Doesn't have a completely perfect surface, but it's great in areas like here. Very smooth and shiny. Where the machine dug in, I had to try and fill in best I could in places. It's got little dimples. The ears came out fantastic though, so I've learned to leave structure when I have a really big pocket to cut out for the machine to rest on, so that this won't happen in the future. Again, this is only the second project. It's all about the learning experience. So you can see the back here, nice and smooth. Sanded it down nice and smooth. Got that 1500 grit to finish it at the end after finishing with the finish. And it's had a few days to sit. It's been about a week or so since I first cut it. And it's right